Hello, beautiful souls. I really hope you are well and navigating and surfing some of these really interesting energies at the moment. I wanted to come on and just do a little bit more of an introduction to who I am, to my work, and just share a few thoughts about Gemini season and some of the energies that we are experiencing at the moment. So I am recording this on Zoom, so you'll get a slightly different quality of video compared to when I'm doing it on my phone, but it's just so much easier to upload. So firstly, let me introduce myself. My name is Morgana Sophia and I am a priestess astrologer. I am very much dedicated into the revival of goddess through astrology, and in the Silver Spiral, the Starfire Temple, of which I am an initiate, it is all about the reclamation of the deep occult feminine arts of astrology and alchemy. So when I am talking a lot about astrology, we really bring that energy of goddess through, and I will often talk a lot about Ari Anwad. Ari Anwad is from the Welsh pantheon. She is the goddess of the stars. So I really just wanted to pop on and just say hello to reintroduce myself. So yes, I am an astrologer. I do birth chart readings. I do solar return readings and everything that you can expect from an astrologer. But I also do a lot of channeling, which I haven't shared for quite a long time. So I channel both goddess, but also a group of interdimensional beings called the Collective Council of Light. And throughout lockdown, I used to bring their messages through, but I sort of had a bit of a wobble and deviated away from that because those messages that were coming in were so diametrically opposed to some of the experiences that we were having, but also to what the status quo is around the Ascension community. However, I have begun to realize that because there is a multifaceted nature of truth, that there is more than one way to, I was going to say skin a cat there, but there is more than one way to tackle the problem. There is more than just one message, and messages have to be delivered in different ways so that they can impact those who are ready to receive them. So over the course of the next few weeks, the next few months, as and when I speak to the Collective Council of Light and bring through their channeling, I will be sharing it with you a little bit more, as well as a lot of astrological insights. I also have a podcast, Star Revelations, with the brilliant Maria Jones. So if you really want to dive into astrology and alchemy and magic and how we can really use astrology for the Aquarian Aeon, I would really direct you to the podcast because it goes into a lot more topics and a lot more depth than perhaps the algorithm wants us to go on various social media platforms. So you can find that on Substack and on Spotify. I'll drop some links below, but we go really deep and we really look at how we as priestesses of the Aquarian Aeon are really bringing through the energies and the choices that we all have to make as we go into this new age. So we are moving into the age of Aquarius. We are leaving the age of Pisces behind. The ages are approximately 2160-ish years. There are a little bit of overlap. I won't bore you with the astrology behind it. It's all to do with the precessions of the equinox. I've wrote a whole book on it. But this is very much the end, the letting go, the releasing of the old energies in order to welcome in the age of Aquarius. But the two do come and overlap. And we're in this really interesting phase of bridging at the moment. The old is going, the new is being birthed, but we're trying to bring both facets together and ensure that we have a really smooth transition into the age of Aquarius. So the age of Pisces was very much the energy of Magdalene and of Yeshua, very much the energy of unconditional love. The highest expression of Pisces is unconditional, boundless love. But unfortunately, that was distorted by those who felt that Yeshua himself, as a sorcerer, as a magician, really needed to be hived off from Magdalene, who I believe was his equal, was his consort, twin flame, whatever word you want to use. And he became the very masculine, very patriarchal religion that we now see. So we are really seeing the balance being redressed at the moment, but we're feeling those two energies beginning to just move away, and we're welcoming in the energies of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius is about connection, collaboration, it's about community, it's about going back to, for me, slightly smaller communities where everybody is in a place of equality, where rulership isn't the pyramidal structure that we're used to. It's very much everyone will sit round a table, and it's slightly idealistic, I do realise, but everyone will have a role. They'll all have an expertise, but no one person is better than the other. Some will lead at sometimes, then they will step back to allow another to lead. That's really the energy that we want to foster and create going forward. But we also want to make sure that we are not falling into the shadows of the Aquarian Aeon. The shadows of Aquarius predominantly is technocracy, so control through technology. So how far do you want to be controlled by technology? Are you using it for the greatest good? Or are we using it to control everything that we do? Atlantis is either a place that we've been to before, or the messages that we've left ourselves in the stars, the myths and legends that our future selves are telling us to make sure that we don't fall into the same mistakes as they did. So you can really feel into that. Has it been before? Is it us now? Are the Atlanteans messages from the future? Is it a message from the past? But the one thing I can say is that however you take that, it is all about warning, the use of technology, the breaking of natural laws, the breaking of natural justice, the word I'm looking for perhaps isn't going to be a very useful word to use. The manipulation of genetics, of biome, the manipulation of energy, the manipulation of technology. These are all the shadows of Aquarius. So big questions to ask is, do we really want to drop into that space? So that predominantly is my work as an astrologer, as a priestess, is to really bring through and show us what the highest expression of Aquarius is and how we are going to navigate this shift in order that we step into a higher timeline and in order that we don't step into that technological control, essentially. So as priestesses, very much we are star priestesses. We call ourselves the priestesses of the Aquarian Aeon. We're here to really help birth the new Aeon and anchor in some of those divine codes and divine frequencies. The reason I wanted to talk about this and do the video today is a little bit later today. So I'm recording this on the 20th of May. Sol, our star, known as Sun in some parts of astrology, Sol moves into the Quicksilver messenger sign of Gemini, the sign of the twins, the sign of duality. And very much Gemini season, and Geminis often get quite a bad rap. I will say that Geminis get a bad rap. My North Node is in Gemini. It's an energy that I've really had to learn to embrace. But Geminis, the face of duality, often come in to teach us the multifaceted nature of truth, the multifaceted nature of reality. And that felt really key for bringing that in now, because proofs that I have been downloading, that I have been channeling, I haven't shared because to me and my strange brain, there was only one way that we were going to achieve ascension, that we had to particularly follow a rigid way. And that is becoming clearer and clearer, that there are more messages, different levels, different ways of expressing ourselves that resonate with people on different levels. So Gemini season is perhaps a good time to really launch back into speaking and writing about these different aspects, because Gemini herself is not just the quick silver messenger, very much like Hermes in the Greek mythology, but she is also the celestial scribe. She is the one who writes in the book of life. She is the one who understands the mysteries of the cosmos. This is the season of the writer, the season of she who crafts and weaves her words. This, for me, last year was the season in which I was so productive in writing my book, Starfire Leaders of the Age of Aquarius, because it just naturally came out. Really is about speaking and sharing our truth. And with Pluto currently being in retrograde, and I touched on this last week, with Pluto being in retrograde and really exposing some of the duality in the spiritual world in which we inhabit, it's really paramount that we find our truth and we speak our truth, but we're speaking our truth from our love and from our hearts. We are not sliding into the shadow. And the shadow of, well, the sister sign, let's face it, the sister sign of Gemini is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is known for being judgy McJudge face, and I can happily say that as Sag Moon, Sag Rising. We don't want to slip into judgy McJudge face. We don't want to slip into being very dogmatic, very rigid, inflexible in our beliefs. This, for me, is a season which is really opening up and it is showing us the multifaceted nature of truth. And the one thing that I can really see and feel is that actually, maybe on the external, we are searching for truth. We are searching for new, enlivening teachings. We need to be in our own truth and really feeling into our hearts. But it may mean that we are actually finding new people who are sharing information in different ways rather than slavishly following those which we followed for a long time. I can really see that we are shifting and changing. And it's not to become a follower of another person, of another teacher, because very much the age of the guru is dead. We are all equals, just sharing the information that we have. It is about stepping into a heart-led, true, authentic leadership and listening to different points of view, whether or not we agree with them or not. And it's really important that we expand our vision, we expand our knowledge into different ways of seeing how people interpret what is going on in the sky. So once I have recorded a podcast or done a video or a bit of a post on a particular season or an aspect, sometimes I like to go and listen to other astrologers to see what their imprints are, to see what their visions are, to see what their interpretations are. And often they are very, very similar but expressed differently. And sometimes they can be diametrically opposed, which then asks us to go into our own essence and really feel into our truth and see that we can have different versions of the truth at all times. So one of the things I'm really feeling for a lot of us at the moment is a real, almost like a change of trains. We are maybe still heading in the same direction, but we are going off into a place which feels more aligned for us. We may be circling back to people who are sharing knowledge that we haven't listened to for a long time. We may be exploring newness. We may be listening to new people. In fact, we may not want to listen to anybody and we want to get really in touch with our truth. But this Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, which I keep coming back to, is very much this wrecking ball scattering us all to the nine winds and actually separating the wheat from the chaff, really giving us the nuggets of gold. And what I mean by this is if people are doing things, careful how I phrase this, but if it's coming from your heart, people will begin to know. If it's coming from a place where, oh my gosh, if I can launch this course and create a lot of money, then people are going to find that. People are going to walk away from that. People are really looking for that heart to heart connection at the moment, and there will be false light exposed. There is no other way of dressing this up and putting a little jacket and a hat onto it. False light is going to be exposed, and it's going to send some shockwaves through the wider community as well. But that's okay, because that's all part of the role which is being played for us all. But it's also about being understanding as well. If someone says to you, "Oh, I don't follow so and so anymore," or "I'm not interested in their teachings," being okay, I totally accept your choice. You may still be listening to them. But just seeing that there might be other ways and other interpretations of the energy. But the most important thing, if you're still listening and still with me, isn't how somebody else interprets the energy. It's how do you interpret the energy within your heart? And astrology gives us the guidelines, it gives us the waypoints, the markers, which shows us the highest and lowest expressions. But how you fill in the gaps, how you join in the dots is really truly down to you. And this is really about you taking power back and taking control back and really coming into your own heart-led truth. So that's a little bit of a Tuesday morning ramble as we move into Gemini season. I hope it resonated. I'd love to hear your comments on it. And I just love to connect with you and see how you're doing with this energy at the moment. It is very, very interesting because in 9 days' time, just very, very quickly, we have Saturnia moving into Aries. And I'll probably maybe do another video on that. But Maria and I have a fabulous podcast on that, really diving deep into Saturn as a goddess, Saturnia as a goddess, diving into the invocations of Babylon and looking at the Kabbalah as well. Things are about to change. We're about to see Saturn move into Aries. Neptune's already moved into Aries. They're going to be quite close, but not conjunct. It's going to give us a little taste of what 2026 is going to be like, what needs to be let go of as Saturn and Neptune retrograde back into Pisces later in the year in order for us to achieve the highest timeline for us personally and collectively. Enough from me, sending you all so much love. Take care.